Hi and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today is May the 23rd. We're on page 67 of the magazine. And we're on the second half of a two-day article entitled The Evolution of Wax Figures from the Middle Ages to Madame Tussaud.
好，我们这篇文章的中文标题是窺探过往的面貌，永恒传承的艺术这是这篇文章的第二天的这个分量。
So yesterday we went into the kind of interesting history of wax museums or waxworks. I mean, it was a legitimate form of art for a number of centuries in Europe, although recently it's only seen as an interesting craft now. But today we're going to learn more about the actual Madame Tussaud and how she became such a household name for waxworks.
好，那我们昨天谈到了这个蜡像或蜡像馆的一些相关的历史。那今天呢，我们来看看这个杜莎夫人蜡像馆的故事。
So, when one thinks of wax museums, the name Madame Tussaud is most likely to spring to mind. There are museums bearing her name in Europe, North America, Asia, and Australia, with the one in London being the largest. The story of the woman who founded Madame Tussauds is nearly as fascinating as the backgrounds of those whose resemblances are featured in the detailed figures of her museums. Born in Strasbourg, France in 1761, Marie Tussaud was raised by a single mother, as her father was killed in a war just 2 months before she was born. When Tussaud was 6 years old, her mother got a job as a housekeeper in Switzerland, working for a physician named Philippe Curtius, who was a highly skilled wax modeler. Tussaud began learning the craft from Curtius, whom she referred to as her uncle, after they all moved to Paris. Tussaud showed great promise in creating waxworks, but her career was nearly cut short, literally, during the French Revolution, when she was sentenced to death by guillotine because she was seen as a royal sympathizer. Fortunately, however, her life was spared, and when Curtius died in 1794, his collection of waxworks all went to Tussaud. She married a year later, and the marriage produced 3 children, including a daughter who died shortly after birth. In 1802, she moved to the United Kingdom and toured for many years with her wax figures as an exhibition. Finally, in 1835, she set up her first permanent exhibition on Baker Street in London. 15 years later, Marie Tussaud died in her sleep at the age of 88 after living an incredible life. Reading between the lines, you know, none of this was planned. She was just making up her life as it went along. You know what I mean? And now she's like this household name for waxworks. But all of this looks like somebody who went through periods of being hungry and trying to figure out the next step and having a very unstable life.
Yeah, 所以这个我们以现在眼光回来看的话，会发现这个杜莎夫人她并不是一开始就立志要成立一个那个蜡像馆什么什么的而是几乎就是随着她的人生的各种不同的阶段、不同的变化好像就这样子慢慢就顺理成章的到最后就出现了这个蜡像馆。
Also, that was an era of history where a lot of wars and stuff was going on, so a lot of people's lives were pretty unstable.
Yeah, 而且他生存的那个年代其实有很多的战争所以很多人的人生或者很多人的生活都不是那么的稳定，那他也是一样。
So when one thinks of wax museums, the name Madame Tussaud is most likely to spring to mind. If something springs to mind, it comes up immediately.
Yeah.
It's like it's more immediate than just comes to mind. It springs to mind.
所以这个 spring to mind 就是you immediately think of something 所以马上就想到这个比那个 comes to mind 还要快因为 comes to mind 感觉起来就是你会想到，但是不是那么一刹那之间就想到了好，所以呢这个句子讲到说，当我们想到这个蜡像馆的时候呢，这个名字 the name 后面一个同位一个什么名字呢？就是这个杜莎夫人她的名字is most likely to 最有可能会 spring to mind 你马上想到所以这句话中文就是说你可以翻译成说我们想到蜡像馆，那么 杜莎夫人的名字最可能马上就出现在你脑海里面。
There are museums bearing her name in Europe, North America, Asia, and Australia, 4 different continents, with the one in London being the largest. So the biggest museum, of course, is in London, where she started. Oh, well, not really where she started. Where the museum started.
Yeah, or the country where she started. No, not really.
No. It's the museum. The museum was started, not where she started.
Yeah. 所以呢，这个所以它的发源地啦，等于说它的这个museum 发源地是在伦敦嘛，那我们讲到说，这里他讲说这个有很多的 museum， 它有很多蜡像馆在这里说有很多的博物馆 bearing her name 就是很多的，那这个博物馆大概都是蜡像馆的那 bearing her name 就是有他的名字用他的名字，或者是有他的名字作为这个博物馆的名称那所以这些博物馆怎么样？是在欧洲在北美、在亚洲、在澳洲都有。然后呢 ，with 是表示这个附带说明详细的状况那到处都有。可是呢 ，the one in London 在伦敦的那一个是 being the largest 是最大的一个那这里要用 being， 因为它前面是它由 with 带出来的，由介系词带出来的那当然你也可以分析说这个 being 是个分词修饰这个 London， 但不管怎么样，这个 being 一定要加 ing。The
story of the woman who founded Madame Tussaud is nearly as fascinating as the backgrounds of those whose resemblances are featured in the detailed figures of her museums. This is a very crunchy sentence. There's a lot of adjectives in this sentence, which is discouraged in modern writing. But anyways, Madame Tussaud's is fascinating, and the backgrounds of those who are in the museum is also fascinating, is the point of this sentence. A resemblance is something that looks like somebody else, and if you feature something, it means you show it off.
Yeah. 好，那这个句子呢，我们看到他说the story 一个故事，什么的故事呢？ The woman who founded Madame Tussaud 创立这个杜莎夫人蜡像馆的这位女士她的故事 is nearly as fascinating as 就是几乎跟什么一样的 fascinating， 叫做 is nearly as fascinating as。 那 fascinating 当然就是 extremely interesting 的意思所以这个杜莎夫人蜡像馆这个创造者就是创造这蜡像馆的这个女士，她的故事呢跟底下这件事情是几乎是一样的 fascinating 那跟什么一样的 fascinating 呢？ The backgrounds of those whose resemblance are featured 所以跟那些这个those 就是 those people whose resemblance 他们的 likeness 他们像他们所像的这些作品are featured 被用来当主要的这个卖点来展示，叫做 are featured 作为主要的特点，主要的卖点。好，然后呢，所以换句话说就是说，这个杜莎夫人她的故事跟她蜡像馆里面所展示的那些蜡像的 backgrounds 几乎是一样的 fascinating 然后呢，最后我们再看这个 in the detailed figures of her 这个 museum， 这 detail 就是很细腻的，所以这些resemblance 相似处是在哪里展现出来呢？在那个细腻的这个蜡像，它博物馆里面那些细腻的蜡像里面所展示出来的。这句话中文不好解释，事实上这句话英文其实也是这个写的有一点弯曲它用了很多的形容词那其实现代的这个modern writing 是告诉大家，除非这个形容词真的很重要，真的是 add to the meaning of the sentence 不然的话呢，其实形容词应该少一点，可能是比较这个有力量的作品。
That's well said, yeah.
Yeah.
So the next paragraph says, born in Strasbourg, France in 1761, Marie Tussaud was raised by a single mother. And the reason is her father was killed in a war just 2 months before she was born. This sentence makes me really feel compassionate for her mother. Can you imagine in the 1700s, your husband is killed and you're 7 months pregnant. Oh.
Yeah. 所以这个很悲惨了，尤其他的妈妈真的是不容易哈。那他这个句子告诉我们说呢，他是在1761年出生在法国的这个 Strasbourg 这个地方啊。那他是 was raised by a single mother 啊，他是有一个单亲妈妈啊所养大的啊。这个 a single mother 不是说他的妈妈是只有一个的意思哈，是这个 single 是说他妈妈现在是 single 啊，因为这个爸爸过世了啊，不是说他是 by a single mother, not two mothers 啊，不是这个意思。
She's widowed.
Yeah, she's widowed 哈。然后呢 ，as her father, as 在这里是因为他的父亲 was killed in a war 啊，在一场战争之中丧失生命了啊，而且是 just 2 months before she was born， 他出生前2个月啊，父亲这个丧生了。那其实不要说在18世纪啊，在现代这样子的事情，这样子这个妈妈都会让我们觉得很同情啊，而且她都需要很多的社会资源才有办法把小孩养大。
When Tussaud was 6 years old, her mother got a job as a housekeeper in Switzerland, which just kind of tells you the kind of work her mother was doing to get by. But she found this job as a housekeeper working for a physician named Philippe Curtius.So this was unusual because he was a highly skilled wax modeler. He was a physician and he was a skilled wax modeler. What this tells you is something I forgot to mention yesterday when we were talking about what wax has been used for sculpturally. At this time in the 1700s, when people were discovering the human body and they needed to teach it to other people, they used wax models to make representations of various organs and things. Because you can't just keep actual dead bodies on hand, but you need to be able to have a decent representation. And books were still expensive at this time, and 3D models were way more clear as to the relations of the organs in the human body and other things. So making medical wax models was a thing at the time, and that's what this guy did.
哦，好，所以这个 Angela 老师解释说呢，在那个时候18世纪的时候呢，这个医术开始发达，那人们对这个人体的结构也开始有比较好的认识啊，所以那个时候他们常常用蜡像啊雕塑人的人体或者人的器官啊，那用来做教学或者是用来做这个说明等等的啊。那为什么用蜡像呢？不用书呢？因为那个时候的印刷术还没有那么的普及，而且印刷术还不是那么发达，所以你用印刷术很难印出啊那个色彩非常贴近或者很逼真的那些图画啊，就算有那个书也太贵，大家买不起，所以最后用蜡像来做。好，所以我们才看到这个，所以当时啊，这个很多的医生，他们其实都透过蜡像来学习医术，或者是在教授医术，所以很多的医生，或者最少有一些医生，他自己也会做蜡像啊，像这里就是好，所以我们来看这个剧，他说，当这个杜莎夫人呢，她6岁的时候，她的妈妈找到一个工作啊，去当 housekeeper 啊，当着管家啊，那这工作是在瑞士啊，那她替谁工作呢？后面一个分词构句告诉你 working for， 他替一个 physician， 在这里是指医生啊，他是为一个医生工作，这医生的名字 named 啊，就是 who was named 的意思，他的名字是 Philippe Curtius。然后呢，专有名词出来了，所以这个时候你要再加关系代名词的子句的话，通常就是非限定的用法，是补充用法，那打一个逗点啊，所以呢 named Philippe Curtius， 那逗点 who was，他是一位highly skilled， 一个技术非常好的啊，一个 wax modeler 啊 ，wax modeler 就是一个蜡像师。那这里各位要注意这个 highly skilled， 这是常常放在一起的，这是很常见的一个 collocation 啊。那这个我昨天有去查那个 frequency list 啊，这 highly skilled 远远超过其他的什么 skilled， 例如说 extremely skilled 啊，这个highly skilled 远远比这个 extremely skilled 啊排名第2的常用多了，所以各位把它记起来。a highly skilled 什么样的人，就是很有技术非常好的一个什么人。
So you could be skilled, highly skilled, or extremely skilled.
Yeah， 所以这个你可以 be skilled 或者 highly skilled 或者 extremely skilled。extremely skilled 感觉起来比 highly skilled 还要更厉害一点点。
So Tussaud began learning the craft from Curtius.And she referred to him as her uncle after they all moved to Paris. So originally they were in Strasbourg, France. They moved to Paris. They continued living together, and she began to apprentice with him on how to do wax sculpture.
好，所以呢，这个 Tussaud 开始怎么样 ？Learning the craft， 学这个技艺 ，craft 这字是技艺啊，从他父亲身上学这个技艺啊。Whom 指的就是 courteous 啊，当然各位也注意到中间有一个逗点啊，因为这也是补充性的说法。Whom she referred to as her uncle 啊，所以他称这个 courteous， 他称他为这个 uncle 啊。然后呢，after they all moved to Paris， 那他们后来通通从这个瑞士搬到的巴黎啊。搬到巴黎之后呢，啊，这个可能他妈妈也许啊，这个不知道还是不是个 housekeeper 啊，不管怎么样，他现在已经是这 Courteous 的徒弟了啊，所以他称 Courteous 为这个 uncle， 因为显然他们还是住在同一个房子里面。Yeah.
So Tussaud showed great promise in creating waxworks, so she was really good at this thing. But her career was nearly cut short, literally, during the French Revolution, when she was sentenced to death by guillotine because she was seen as a royal sympathizer. Well, there's a lot in that sentence.
Yeah.
So the French Revolution happens during this time. The French Revolution the dates are given as 1789 to 1799, which is, anyways, she would have been like 28 or 29 when it started out. There's a lot going on at this time. And during this time, it wasn't just like the revolution happened and then it was over. Everybody's passions were inflamed about this and everyone was, getting into the chaos. And so because she must have made comments supporting the monarchy, and so then people are like, oh, you're a bad person. You're supporting the monarchy. And she's like, the monarchy is what we've had, no doubt. It's one of those dumb political things. So she was accused of being a monarchic sympathizer. And so she almost got her head cut off.
Yeah, 这个 monarchy 就是君王啊，所以这个法国大革命的时候，他可能曾经讲过一些这个支持君王这个制度的话啊，所以就被视为是一个Royal sympathizer 就是同情皇室的人啊。好，那这个是历史背景。那我们再回来看这个句子啊。那这个他 showed great promise 啊，他显示出来很大的 promise 在这里啊，它几乎可以说是一种潜力啊，或者是这个它是一个 indication of future excellence 或者是 achievement， 这叫 promise 啊。那所以他 showed great promise， 就是他让人家觉得说他前途无量那种感觉啊，不就是这个无量是无可限量的感觉啊。那事实上 promise 这个字的用法呢，它的形容词用法我们比较熟悉，例如我们常常讲说 a promising young woman 或者 a promising young man，那个 promising 不是许诺的意思，那个 promising 就是 showing a lot of indication of这个 future excellence 或者 achievement， 好，所以 she showed great promise， 就她让人家觉得她这方面很有前途啊。In creating waxworks， 她在制作蜡像方面看起来是非常有前途的人啊。但是呢，她的 career， 她的这个制作蜡像的生涯 was nearly 几乎差一点点，叫 nearly 被 cut short， 被斩的比较这个短一点，被砍短了。
Along with her neck.
Yeah， 这个可能本来例如说你本来本来是非常好的一个 career， 然后被砍的变缩短了。然后他这里开了一个玩笑 ，literally 啊，这个是字面上的，真的是 cut short 啊。那为什么呢？因为在这个法国大革命的时候呢 ，she was sentenced to death， 她被判死刑啊 ，by guillotine 就断头台啊，所以他当时的死刑就是常常见到就是断头台，他当时被判要这个上断头台啊，这个接受死刑。那当然，如果他死刑头一砍，他就被 cut， 他的人就被 cut short， 因为少了一个头嘛啊，那他的 career 也被 cut short 啊，所以他这里在用这个双关语啊。那为什么他被判死刑呢？就是我们刚刚讲的，因为他是被大家认为是他是。She was seen as 大家看她认为她是一个 a royal sympathizer， 一个同情皇室的人。
She probably was a royal sympathizer.
Yeah,
it's being very polite to say she was seen as. Do you have some, does the author have some skin in this game?
Or maybe she's not a very outspoken supporter.
Yeah. But obviously in any revolution situation, people are going to be supporting the old order and people are going to be supporting the new order.
Yeah.
And whether, it's history decides which side was the so-called right side in that. So who knows? But she probably was like, monarchy all the way.
Yeah.
Fortunately, however, for us as museum lovers, her life was spared. For some reason, she was not killed. And when she died, when her
master,
her uncle, her so-called uncle,
yeah.
died in 1794, which is after the revolution, his collection of waxworks all went to Tussaud.
好，所以幸运的是呢，他的生命，他的这个 her life was spared， 他的命被饶恕了啊，也就是他们没有砍他啊 ，was spared 就是被饶恕了啊。And when Curtius died in 1794哈，所以1794年 Curtius 过世的时候呢，他的 collection of waxworks， 他的蜡像的这个收集呢，收藏品呢，全部 all went to Tussaud， 全部都给了 Tussaud 杜莎夫人。
Since we don't mention her mother, probably her mother passed away at this point too.
Yeah， 这个时候他没有提到他的母亲，所以也许这个时候他的母亲也过世了。
And Tussaud herself married a year later, and the marriage produced 3 children, including a daughter who died shortly after birth. Yeah. I don't know why we're including this information in the article, though. It just doesn't seem relevant. But, okay. She had children, and one of them died.
Yeah. 好，然后呢，这个1年之后她结婚了。那这一段婚姻啊，这个 produce 这个有了3个小孩，包括一个 daughter who died shortly after death。after birth， 包括一个这个 ，yeah， 他死了之后又死了，就是 who died shortly after
she double died.
Yeah, she double died. 没有这个地方啊，是 died shortly after birth 啊，他出生之后没多久就夭折了啊。那像这个，尤其是这一个讯息啊，就他有一个女儿出生之后没多久就夭折了哈，这个其实要不要放在这个文章里面也可以考虑，因为这好像跟整个文章走向不见得有很直接的关系啊。我们只是告诉各位，这另外一种选择，就是你可以选择不要把这个讯息放进来。
In 1802, she moved to the United Kingdom for reasons which aren't given here, and toured for many years with her wax figures as an exhibition. Although one could guess is that the United Kingdom was really into touring shows in general. They loved musicals and variety shows and exhibitions in general. So I suppose that was a good place to go if you had an exhibition to have. I think what Tussaud did is she looked at all these waxworks that her uncle left her and was like, what can I do to make money on this? Let's have a show.
Yeah. 好，所以1802年呢，他搬到了这个英国，然后呢 toured 的巡回展示，好 for many years 很多年巡回展示，啊，带着什么东西展示呢 ？With her wax figures 啊，带着她的蜡像啊展示，那 as an exhibition 就是当展示这样子啊，那也许可以收点门票赚钱等等的。
I wonder also if the UK seemed more stable at the time, since France had been going through so many various revolutions and instabilities.
Probably.
And also the UK was making money at this time because they were doing their colonial thing and sort of taking all the resources of the world and bringing it back to London. So
yeah. 所以也许为什么在英国这个可以去那里做巡回展示呢？可能那时候英国相对欧洲可能比较稳定，比较安定一点，然后可能英国那时候也开始从殖民地开始赚了钱啊，比较富足一点啊，这些大概都是原因啊。那这个是刚刚其实也讲到，英国在那个时候，其实17世纪就开始啊，他们英国人很喜欢看这种所谓的 exhibition 展示啊，尤其像其实在那个美国啊，刚刚开始这个欧洲刚刚开始进入美洲的时候呢，他们有时候会把当地的印第安人运回欧洲去展示
，like live zoos.
Yeah.
Do you know the last live zoo was in the 1900s, in like 1920 something?
Wow.
So it's not like that long ago of a practice.
所以他们 live zoos 就是把人当动物一样关在这个栅栏里面，然后巡回展示啊。这个最晚的这个 live zoo 在大概1920年代左右，所以当时在欧洲这其实是一个常见的事情。
It was a thing.
Yeah.
So of course she's going to bring her exhibition to the United Kingdom because it's going to make money there. And then finally, after touring around a lot, which must have been, wow, what a lifestyle, trying to carry all these fragile wax sculptures all over the place and set up exhibitions must have been an exhausting lifestyle. So finally, she was able to set up a permanent exhibition on Baker Street. And Baker Street was a very fashionable street at the time. Not fashionable in terms of high society. It was fashionable in terms of that was where the action was. Kind of like a 42nd Street in New York kind of a thing. is my guess. And so she set up her exhibition there, which was a good place to make money. And then 15 years later, she died in her sleep at the age of 88 after living quite an eventful and incredible life.
Yeah, 所以最后在1835年的时候呢，他 set up， 他成立了他的第一个 permanent， 就是永久的 exhibition 展示啊，这个是在这个 Baker Street 啊那个地方，事实上那个是很有名的一条街啊，在伦敦。那15年之后 ，15 years later， 他怎么样 died in her sleep 啊，这其实蛮好命的哈，在睡梦中过世。那 at the age of 88啊，他活了88岁。那他过了一个after living an incredible life， 他有一个传奇的一生。
So, let's look at our questions here. Number 1 is, what is the main topic of the day 1 passage?
好，那今天第一天的文章主题是什么呢？
The answer is D, the changes related to the importance of wax figures over the centuries.
好，答案是 D 啊，数个世纪以来关于蜡像重要性的改变。
And number 2, according to the passage, which is not true about wax figures several centuries ago?
根据本文关于数世纪以前的蜡像哪一项不正确？
The answer is A. It is not true that they were often seen by the general public in museums. At best, they would be seen in private showings by aristocrats.
答案是 A 那这一项不正确，因为他说他们常在博物馆给大众欣赏，其实不对，因为数世纪以前只有大概贵族有这个办法可以做蜡像，可以看蜡像。
Or at funerals and things.
或者是 funeral 上面做 effigy.
And number 3, who taught Marie Tussaud the art of making wax figures?
是谁教导玛丽杜莎制作蜡像的艺术呢？
The answer is C, her mother's boss, who she later called her uncle, probably to just make things easier.
答案是 C, 她母亲的老板。
And number 4, what example of good luck does the writer mention regarding Marie Tussaud?
好，这个作者举了什么关于玛丽杜莎的幸运的例子呢？
It was the best kind of good luck. She avoided getting her head cut off. D.
这真的是很幸运。答案是 D, 她逃过被斩首的命运。
Can you imagine how scary, though? Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyways, that is all we have for you today on wax figures and Madame Tussaud. And so please join us again tomorrow or the next time.